May is a pretty loaded month of new Nintendo Switch game releases, and if you are going to be a little bit cognizant about the money that you're going to spend, I would recommend you to watch this video because I want to go over the games that I think you should buy right away and the other ones that should definitely be on your radar. However, it would be very advantageous if you end up waiting for a sale on them because I do foresee them going on sale rather quickly. Specifically, I would recommend you to buy 2 games in the month of May while skipping on 8 for now, but definitely keeping them on your radar for sales and things of that nature. So without further ado, let's get right into it, and I want to get through this relatively quickly. So the first game I would recommend you to buy is, of course, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Look, this is a Nintendo first-party title, and it is a big JRPG like this. It is not going to go on sale for a very, very long time. Look at Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That game very, very rarely goes on sale, and the fact of the matter is, this is going to be a game that will easily be worth the $59.99. Yes, you can make the argument, well, isn't this just a port of a game that's so many years old? I mean, you can make that argument. However, this is a game that is also being incredibly enhanced. I know it just says Definitive Edition, and maybe that terminology of Definitive Edition has been a little bit wasted because a lot of games, they don't really seem to be quote-unquote definitive. Whatever the case may be on that, Xenoblade Chronicles is featuring a remastered soundtrack, better visuals, and extra content in the form of an epilogue. They are adding a sizable amount of content, including original story-based content, so from that standpoint, the game is already really good, and you could easily say it's worth $40 or $50, but then with all of the additions and new content they're adding, I would say that $60 price point absolutely suffices, and at the end of the day, it probably isn't going to see a significant discount for a very, very long time, in all honesty, if ever, because you look at games like Breath of the Wild, that's still $60 pretty regularly. Nonetheless, if you're a JRPG fan, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition should definitely be on your radar. Also, I would recommend you to buy Wonderful 101 Remastered. This is a Wii U game that was so well done by Platinum Games. Thankfully, it's getting a second chance, and it is going to be remastered. Now, why I say it's a buy right away, first of all, it is coming at a budget price point of $40, so that's pretty good, and the fact is, it is a Platinum Games release, and traditionally, Platinum Games titles on Nintendo Switch, they tend to hold up in value. At the end of the day, this is a third-party game, so maybe it'll go on sale, but how much of a deep discount are you going to get on a $40 release? And Wonderful 101 is a great game where I think that $40 is going to be well spent, so if you've been eyeing this, I would recommend you to pick this one up as well. Okay, let's move on to the wait for a sale category. A lot of great games that I would definitely have on your radar, but ones that are definitely also worthwhile to wait on a sale for. First of all, 2K Games is going all in on the Nintendo Switch this month, and Bioshock The Collection, Borderlands Legendary Collection, and XCOM 2 Collection are all going to be coming to the Switch. However, they probably are going to be released at $60, so let's go through each of them one by one. Bioshock The Collection is freaking tremendous. You get all 3 Bioshock games, and they are fantastic games, fantastic first-person shooters, but they are just first-person shooters without any multiplayer. However, it's still absolutely worth it to go through those 3 games. Those 3 games are marvelous. Bioshock 1 is tremendous. Bioshock 2, still a great game, not as good as Bioshock 1 or Bioshock Infinite, which Bioshock Infinite, I just think, is an absolutely elite first-person shooter that everybody needs to play, and a game that is just fantastic in game design. So, Bioshock The Collection, the fact is, with all of these, they are great games. However, $60 is probably going to come down really, really quickly. We've seen this generally be the case with these collections. And look at the Bioshock collection on the PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One. You can readily get it for south of $15. So paying $60 right out of the gate, I do think that's a little bit too much, but that is just my opinion. Borderlands Legendary Collection. Okay, so if you had to pick one to pay $60 for, Borderlands Legendary Collection might push me in that direction because you just get an obscene amount of content for your money. That's Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands the pre-sequel. On top of that, you get the DLC for all of those games. What that means is you easily have north of 150, 170 hours of gameplay, maybe approaching the 200-hour mark easily with those 3 games. They're great first-person shooters. Once again, it just comes down to the fact that I do foresee these going on sale pretty quickly. All of these games, you can make the argument that they are worth the $60. I'm not trying to argue against that. I'm trying to argue against the fact that buying it now is a little bit foolish, where I easily could see them getting relatively cheap within the next month or 2. You really can't say that about Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, or maybe Wonderful 101 Remastered. That's why I'm mainly telling you guys to stay away for now. XCOM 2 Collection, another fantastic game. XCOM 2 is tremendous. I am just curious on how this game is going to make the transition to the Switch. I'm more skeptical on XCOM 2 more than the other 2 titles, because Borderlands, those games were on last generation platforms, as were Bioshock Bioshock 1, 2, and Infinite. In the case of XCOM 2, that game came out on PC. It had some technical issues on PC when it originally came out. The PlayStation 4 version works well enough, but there's some limitations there as well. So a little bit skeptical on that end, but if they can get a port that works well, XCOM 2 is a fantastic tactics-based game, and you can sink a lot of time into that one as well. I hate to put all of the 2K games in the wait for sale category, but I just foresee them all going on sale relatively quickly. That is the mindset I'm coming at this from, not necessarily, oh, the games are inherently not worth $60, because I don't think that's necessarily the case when you're talking about games at this high of a quality level. Alright, some other games I want to quickly cover. Spirit of the North is a game that looks absolutely fantastic. A lot of the reviews are coming out, and it's getting quite good reviews. It is a game that strikes me that it's going to be a little bit shorter in length. It's going to be $19.99, $35 for the physical edition, which that's kind of pricey. Definitely a game to have on your radar, one not a lot of people are talking about, but visually it looks great. Definitely keep an eye on that. Void Bastards, another game I'm personally very excited for, inspired by games such as Bioshock and System Shock. It has a great art style, great premise, 12 to 15 hour campaign, so relatively lengthy, all things considered, a $30 price point. Again, just hard to justify a pickup right away, but at $30, hey, if you like the look of the game, more power to you, and do pick it up. It's being published by Humble, and they've been publishing a lot of very, very cool games. One Step from Eden, there was Temtem, hopefully those games come to Switch at some point as well, but for now, Void Bastards will have to suffice. Warhammer 40k Mechanicus is also coming to the Switch. This is one where I am a little bit skeptical on how the Nintendo Switch transition is going to be, but a game that was quite well received on the PC when it was released on there back in 2018. It's another turn-based tactics game, all things considered. If you want a turn-based tactics game, yes, Mechanicus is probably going to be cheaper, but XCOM 2 is at such an elite level, and the collection includes so much additional content that if you're dying for that style of game, XCOM 2 is probably the one I would recommend, but 40k looks pretty good as well. Biped is one that I was super tempted to put on the buy category. If you want a cooperative game, Biped is a great one. This has been out on PC for a few weeks now, and it's been received really well over there. It's a game that has some pretty charming gameplay, charming visuals as well, and again, if you want a co-op experience, not a bad buy, especially at only $15. And lastly, the last one I would say wait on a sale for, and this one's a no-brainer, Oddworld Munch's Oddysee is coming out, which is exciting. I mean, I'm excited to try out Oddworld Munch's Oddysee on Switch. However, this is a game that has been really, really cheap on just about every other platform. I think literally as low as south of $1, so paying $20 for it, it has a pre-order discount, it's a regular price is $30, yeah, that's gonna be a no from me, but it is gonna be a wait for a sale on for me, and once it's down to, you know, south of 10 bucks, definitely pick it up then. So that's going to conclude this video. Again, I was hopeful that I was able to give you guys a little bit of insight on what games to buy in the month of May for your Switch. Remember, just use these videos as a guideline. I do have my personal biases, but I try to come as objective as possible. That's why a game like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is in the buy category, even at $60, because I just don't foresee it going on sale. And honestly, if I was to be completely biased, I would have put a game like Bioshock The Collection in the buy category. Are you kidding me? Bioshock 1, 2, and Infinite? Those games are so good and some of my favorite FPSs of all time, but conventional wisdom just tells me that that game is going to go on sale rather quickly, and if we're talking about saving the most amount of money possible in the long term, I think this is the most strategic way to go about things. That's going to conclude this video. Definitely sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.